Defendant not guilty or guilty? So say you, Mr. Foreman? So say you all?
So excited. Couldn't have asked for a better outcome.
We waited for this, and justice is finally served.
I could not be standing here without these amazing supporters. No one has fought harder for justice for John O'Keefe than I have, and my team. Thank you.
Karen Reed, oh boy. Karen Reed, Richard Grundy's favorite subject. I think mine too, at least this year. What a year it was. Well, now it's taking a turn. A movie is being made about the case. We've seen this before with high-profile cases. The trial that divided the community, ignited social media, and put the criminal justice system under a national spotlight is now going to be on your TV screen. It's Lifetime. They love to do this. It's called The Accused. It's a series. Take a look.
We need someone now. There's a guy, he's unresponsive in the snow. Come on, John.
Just behind me is the location of the death of Boston police officer John O'Keefe.
Karen Reed, you have the right to remain silent.
I love this man.
Karen, did you kill John O'Keefe? Karen Reed had nothing to do with it.
It just feels like this whole town is turning on me.
Okay, Karen Reed, of course, was acquitted of the murder of her boyfriend, John O'Keefe, during her retrial earlier this year. Although a wrongful death suit remains between the families, they're suing each other. Here to discuss is the former head of the homicide unit in Norfolk County, Massachusetts, Richard Grundy, and Ben Chew still with us. Richard, what's your take on this? It's weird seeing that an actress playing Karen Reed obviously studied those body camera videos. Overall thoughts?
Oh my. I assume that this is going to be a Jackson Reed production. I think that, just by the title itself, The Accused, that they're going to tell the story 100% from her side, and that she was wrongfully accused. It went through a vicious 3-year cycle of court dates and trials to survive this, and that is one story there. My mind immediately goes to the suffering that John O'Keefe's family and loved ones will be going through as a result of this. And I question how both Alan Jackson and Karen Reed will address that, if at all, or just bask in their glory. And I suspect the latter. One thing that I don't get a full flavor of is that I was here in the midst of all this in Massachusetts. And I just didn't have any angle to get a sense of, did this really pervade the rest of the country as it did here in Massachusetts? And apparently it did, if they're going forward with this production. So that's still mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, Ben, it did. This was one of those cases that just kept rising up, and the people around the country caught into it, and it was amazing how you could look at the exact same set of facts and be convinced that Karen Reed was guilty or innocent. I mean, it's one of those cases that really polarized this country. Your overall thoughts on it, why it got to there? How did a case about a woman accused of killing her boyfriend because she was drunk get into the point where now there's a movie about it?
Well, I think it had a lot of elements. You had an attractive young couple. You had a police officer. There were a lot of elements that made this something that would capture the imagination. And in my experience, however, I think the trial is going to be better than the movie coming out of it. It certainly was our experience in Depp v. Heard. I think the movie makers are trying to capitalize on a moment, but I think that your viewers would be wiser to watch your show and to watch the forthcoming civil trial.
Yes, a great transition, Ben, because the civil trial, Richard, to your point earlier, where this isn't over, and it seems to have gotten nastier. The civil cases are pending here, and the judge, during the first meeting of everybody implored them to figure it out. Otherwise, this is going to be years of litigation, and likely the feeling of dissatisfaction is going to permeate the process at the end of the day. That was basically the message from the judge. Try to figure this out. Do you see that happening, or do you see these two groups going in all in to the end?
I don't see it happening because I think you're in civil court. Your ultimate decision is a financial one. It's money going one way or the other, or going both ways. And I think that's the lesser concern of all the parties here. I just wanted to touch on something that Ben said, which I couldn't agree more, is when these real life trials get to the screenwriters, they just never catch the essence of the brilliance of the attorneys who try the case. I've been disappointed many times. So, I think in the civil case,
wait, are you complimenting Alan Jackson, saying that he was brilliant?
No, I'm not at all. Well, you say, like, how did it become this way? I agree exactly with what Ben said, but add into that, police overcharged him. There was a cognitive sense that she was overcharged because he was a police officer. And then this story that gripped the nation with respect to this vast plot and conspiracy was hatched by a turtle. Yeah. Turtle boy.
Yeah.
And grabbed onto by Alan Jackson. So that's how we got here. The script was already written for him. The civil case, I think they're going to bang heads, and I think it's probably what both parties want at this point.
Ben, you're familiar with the civil arena intimately. How do you see this progressing, and is the judge right that everybody will end up saving a lot of grief and possibly cash if they were to come to some settlement?
The judge is right. That would be the smart thing to do, but Rick is also correct. This is, as you know, Ted, and as Rick knows, 95% approximately of civil cases settle prior to trial. There are a lot of reasons that is, including the expense and uncertainty of trials. But in this case, the result is existential to both sides, and it really isn't about the money here. At least to some degree, it's about their own personal vindication. So I think we're going to have another trial here, and it may take a while, and it's going to be extremely ugly and extremely bitter. And I'm not sure it's going to capture the imagination of the public the way the criminal trial did, because in the criminal trial, Karen Reed's liberty was at stake. Here, it's just about the money. And I would analogize it to the O.J. Simpson case and to the Michael Jackson case, because those cases, ended up in the civil court as well and weren't quite as dramatic as the criminal aspect.
Now, with O.J., there were no cameras allowed during the civil portion, and it might have been. And, Ben, you were a celebrity during the Johnny Depp case, and that was televised. It was civil all the way. I don't know. I get your point, but there might be such familiarity now between Karen Reed and the players, and the fact that Jackson is diving into this as well. We'll wait and see. But point well taken. Ben, enjoy the rest of 2025. It's such an honor always to have you on. Appreciate it. And Rich is going to stick around. Before we leave, a little note, lead detective in the Karen Reed case, Michael Proctor, he can no longer work in Massachusetts law enforcement. Proctor was fired earlier this year over misconduct during Reed's trial, including sending those insulting text messages about Reed and sharing the sensitive information about the case. The Massachusetts Peace Officer Standard and Training Commission, known as POST, has now suspended Proctor's law enforcement certification, making him unable to serve anywhere.